first time my mom asked me if I was gay, we were stopped at a stoplight waiting to turn left, which I believe is the worst place for that conversation to happen. But she was great about it though. She's like, Matt, no matter what your answer is, your dad and I are still gonna love you. I answered her honestly. I said, I don't really know. I gotta think about it. It's a beautiful moment. Then my mom turned left into oncoming traffic. The light was still red. So now, anytime I think about my sexual orientation, my life flashes before my eyes. My sexual orientation is panic. And my parents, they made some mistakes. They sent me to a religious middle school, but I did make the most of it. I saw my first concert at that school. It was a Simon and Garfunkel cover band called Simon and Gomorrah. They did parody songs all based around the Bible. My favorite song of theirs was The Sound of Sodom, which was a take off The Sound of Silence. Worst part about it was I hadn't heard Simon and Garfunkel before. So when I finally did, I was like, this secular music rips off our good Christian music. It's very embarrassing. I wasn't cool at that school. And I know it wasn't cool because people stopped saying bless you when I sneezed. But I got back at them. I started saying I love you anytime anybody sneezed. In my class, teacher didn't matter. Eventually when my teachers took me aside, I was like, Matt, we practice the Christian ideal of metanoia. There's 7 different types of Christian love, but stop doing it, it's creepy. I still do it though, it gets me in trouble. Like a guy sneezed on the train over here and I was like, I'm more subtle about it now. But he heard me, he's like, yeah, not interested. He stormed off the train. But it was worth it because the little boy heard me, came over and tugged on my shirt and was like, hey, keep trying. Somebody will love you. So I encourage you all to do it. It will change your life. I got bullied when I was a kid, and I got the opportunity to confront one of my bullies when I was in high school. But that's not fully accurate because he just punched me. But I got to respond to that. I got to decide how to respond to that, so I hugged him. And I held him close and I said, we don't have to throw down, we just have to hug each other till the anger goes away. Yeah. I let him go. And he punched me 2 more times. Don't think it helped matters that I had my tongue in his ear, but I am a compassionate person. Quick update on that joke. A couple years ago, he reached out to me and he decided he wanted to try and hit it again, but in a slightly different fashion. Sexual, yes. And he went back to that first moment of male intimacy, man. I get it, but I had to turn him down because I did not have time for that. He had his opportunity. Yeah, my wife and I, we are. Okay. Understandable. We'll go deeper into that. Pansexual is fun. Okay, so yes, my wife and I, we're thinking about having kids, but I'm worried. You know, I was picked on for being queer as a kid, and so I'm worried my kids are also going to get picked on. But at least my kids are going to have more options in how they deal with that. You know, being bullied. Like instead of my dad can beat up your dad, he'll be able to say, my dad can seduce your dad. How much do I love my children? I will ruin multiple relationships for them. My compassion gets me in trouble sometimes. Like, I recently got robbed. It was really scary. A guy came up to me, he's like, hey, give me your money, give me your phone. I'm like, here, take it. He's like, give me your bag. I can't give you my bag because it's got a quote from Matilda on it, and it means a lot to me. I'm exactly the type of person you think I am. But I'll give you everything inside my bag. So I start taking out the napkins, the individually wrapped almonds I give to my friends when they have low blood sugar. And then I go a little bit deeper and I'm like, oh my God, you're so lucky. This is the vanilla extract I make and I give to my friends during the holidays. You're so lucky. This is the last one. And he was like, yeah, you can keep your stuff. I feel guilty. I insisted though, and so now when my hopes and dreams is that eventually, a couple years from now, I am standing in line at a really fancy bakery, and across the way, I see him, and we make eye contact, and he runs up to me so excited, he's like, "Oh my God, I opened Matilda's with your vanilla extract." I'm like, "I'm so proud of what you've been able to accomplish since robbing me. I would love to thank you." And he'll lead me inside, we'll cut everybody. He'll give me the best table in the restaurant, and he'll be like, "Do you want a piece of cake?" And I'll say, "Yes." He'll put it down in front of me, and he'll say, "That's $15. And I'll get to say, "You're not robbing me twice." Yeah, I actually do have a fair amount of vanilla extract. I just made a new batch. And if you're interested, you can come and grab some after the show. All comedians going to give one to all of you if I can as well. And one of the things, some people, they get apprehensive about vanilla extract, It's like, "Oh, I don't bake. What else could I do with this?" And well, this is a lot of things. Like, for instance, mosquito repellent. You put a little bit on your skin. Mosquitoes aren't going to bite you. And it comes in a glass bottle, and it is predominantly alcohol. So, in a pinch, it can be a really delicious smelling Molotov cocktail. Excellent. Yeah, my parents, they made a lot of mistakes in our lives financially. Thank you for agreeing. But I realized that I'm never going to be rich. I'm never going to be wealthy. That's not true. I am going to be wealthy in one area. I'm going to be rich in quilts. Because both my grandmothers quilted, so when my parents die, I'm going to inherit 27 quilts. Some of you might get money when your parents die. Good for you. I'm going to get a quilt that commemorates a dog being saved from a pond. This is how they kept history back then. Well, some of you might get their house when your parents die. That's cool. I'm going to get a quilt king size that commemorates the Nixon administration. It's in 4 quadrants, and it gets completely crazy by the end of it. I've accepted that I will never be wealthy, but I will be warm. Yeah, my parents bad communication. Recently, my mom called me and said that she found my aunt's suicide note. I know. I never got to meet my aunt. It's a really heavy conversation, And she's like, "Matt, yeah, I read it for the first time in years, and it's so beautifully written. She doesn't blame anybody. We should frame it." Now, I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do with the note somebody leaves when they take their own life, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to frame it. But knowing my family's history, I'm surprised we didn't transcribe it into a quilt. My bank called me and they told me I needed to start paying my college credit card. They said, "Mr. Storrs, you knew the risks when you signed up for the card." And they said, "You knew the risks when you gave a credit card to a liberal arts major. That was a bad investment. Shouldn't do that." I confuse the words definitely and defiantly, and it ruins my chances to get a new job. When I intend to write, "I definitely want to work for your company," but instead I write, "I defiantly want to work for your company, you son of a bitch." And I appreciate that. We've learned a lot so far. It's even about me, about you. And I think the most important thing that we can learn is, if you're going to take anything away from myself, is that my favorite color is purple, and that I have always believed in magic. Thank you. When I was in 2nd grade, in fact, I wanted to be a purple witch for Halloween. My parents said yes to that, but they were a little apprehensive. They made a recommendation. They're like, "Why don't you be a purple wizard instead?" And I said, "No. Wizards are just con men in capes. Witches actually know spells." They acquiesced, and so I got my mom's purple moo-moo, got a purple pointy hat, And I went out trick-or-treating in my neighborhood. Unfortunately, some of my friends saw me. They called me gay. They're half right. We've established that. One of them was kind of creative, though. He called me a Wiccan grimace. I would come to find out that the grimace is an anthropomorphized taste bud made popular by the McDonald's Corporation. Gold star, really creative. But them calling me gay led to the best comeback I have ever used in my life, which was, purple isn't a gay color. It's a royal color, you peasant. And that was worth not having any friends. But I think that's changed. My name's Matt Storrs. Thank you all so much.